Hopefully the audience could not hear that, but Mel had just returned because we're sitting down to record and both realized at the exact same moment that what was that band's name? The Gonna Be 500 Miles song.
I don't remember the name of the
Proclaimers, band. I think it was.
Was it?
I apparently know better than you.
Because you're a musician. I listen to rap.
Well, that's
the furthest from a musician.
We've said some messed up stuff on this podcast, but that's what's going to get us in. That's what's going to get us in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
That's right.
Oh goodness, I am not on that side of.
Ask a rapper what chord is. What chord you're playing.
Ask half the pop singers what chord they're playing.
All right,
and so they're gonna look at their auto tuner. Is that letter that it says right there? Is that the chord?
That's right. Jerome, what chord is this?
Oh, it's covered, the Modern Music Podcast with an insurance twist.
That's right.
Because we find insurance much more interesting than modern music, apparently. Oh, goodness. My name is Paul.
I'm Mel.
And please direct all hate mail to Mel at...
I can't say. I know what I want to say, but I can't. Just put mail on it. Mailman knows me.
Yeah.
He'll bring it.
When they kind of look at the letter and they look back up at you and go, Mel? You go, yeah, that's right.
There you go. He'll put it in his coat sleeve.
Yeah.
And say, I got you.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, goodness. So, yes, our topic today is much less controversial than what we've just been saying so far. Our topic today is how wrong policemen are.
That's right. We've already attacked rappers, pop musicians, the mail carriers, now the police.
And all you insurance professionals suck too. Why not?
That's right.
That's the first rule in growing an audience for your podcast is to call your audience names.
That's right.
Oh no,
you can't be biased if you hate everyone.
Okay. So what we're talking about is not necessarily that the police are wrong.
Right.
It's that the police and the insurance adjuster are very likely going to be looking for different things and might come to different conclusions.
Yes.
And so we wanted to chat about this because, in our years of claims, the number of times we heard, that, well, the other party got a citation.
That's right.
So clearly they're at fault.
Yeah.
Or my personal favorite, well, I can't be at fault because the judge dismissed my ticket.
The insurance adjuster just got trumped by the authority adjuster. Wrong.
Yeah, that's not how that works at all.
Jobs.
Right. So the basics of this are, what the police officer and the adjuster are both going to be using certain things in common to try to make a judgment as to, what's going on the side of the road. But the goal is different. And so that's going to sometimes create different outcomes. What the police officer is doing when they're issuing a citation is a criminal matter.
Yeah.
Now, look, tickets, around here in Texas, we call these Class C misdemeanors. These are not misdemeanors that are going to land you in jail or anything of the sort. They're going to, get you a fine and as kind of a slap on the wrist. It's like, hey, don't plow your Rolls Royce into people again.
Yeah.
That's generally frowned upon by the law. when it comes to an insurance claim, though, that is a civil matter. And first of all, the burden of proof is different. And that's why you can very often get a traffic ticket dismissed, whereas an insurance claim is a little bit more difficult.
Right.
The very famous burden of proof for a criminal case is beyond all reasonable doubt. Meaning, if you have a reasonable doubt, you should not convict this person of a crime. The civil burden is preponderance of the evidence, which is, this is more than likely not. But that by itself is going to lead us into certain directions that the law might not follow. But we go, as adjusters, we go often a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
And part of that is because, we're not sitting on the side of the road in the hot sun and need to get cars cleared off and out of the way, and ambulances coming in and tow trucks coming in, and we're just jotting down statements and making a call right there.
Yeah. A little more in depth, and takes a little more time. We need to find out exactly what happened.
Right. Yeah. And so the adjuster's investigation very oftentimes will be quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
And we don't have that advantage of being on the side of the road, and that's definitely an advantage. I personally, I always like where adjusters are very rarely in the position of actually going out to the scene anymore.
Right.
That doesn't happen very much.
Just in the commercials.
They always do that in the commercials. They always show up. They're right there beside you, oftentimes beating the police.
Car's still smoking.
Yes, and the adjuster sitting right there. In real life, and you know this, you pass accidents on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Who is at that accident? Because we all look. Mm-hmm. We all slow down and look and cause other accidents because we're rubbernecking.
Yeah.
But who's there? I always see the Progressive car and a Geico guy, right?
Yeah.
USAA. They're very fast. They're always there. Within 5-6 seconds.
Yeah.
They're
always showing up. Saw one show up, messed up, showed up in the car with a smushed car.
Yeah.
That wasn't pretty.
Right. Yeah.
It was a newbie.
Yeah. Normally they have all the adjusters lined up on the road to see who is going to be able to adjust the claim.
Standing next to the tow trucks.
Right. Yeah. They're like, well, no, they're all bidding for it.
That'd be great. Have them hanging off the tow trucks as they're pulling up.
We can save a lot of gas that way.
There you go.
We just have the Progressive guy, hang on to the back of the tow trucks.
That's right.
He jumps off. He's like, "Hey, I think you got Progressive? No, okay, I'll just hang out on the truck again." Oh gosh, obviously that's not who's there. No matter what the commercials say,
right?
It's the cops, it's the fire, it's the tow truck drivers that are there.
Yeah, and the two people or whoever's involved on the side of the road or something like that.
And 5 million people slowing down to look.
Got to figure out what's going on,
just in case we can see some blood.
Yeah, yeah, and then the police officers. They show up after the fact, regardless how fast they get there. It's usually after the fact. And, that's something that my wife would always joke about when people say, but the police officer said this. And, she puts about as much, emphasis on what the police officer said as, their cousin Joe that showed up afterwards. He wasn't there. He didn't see it.
Yeah.
So talking to both drivers, that's the main thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so the police officer, if they're going to ticket somebody, they're looking to make a judgment at the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's wrong. I actually had a friend in high school who was cutting class, and And he was a friend, and you know, I believe that he would have been honest with me, so I believed him. But he was cutting class, and somebody ran a red light and hit him. And of course, what happens when somebody runs a red light? They always get out, and standing right next to the progressive guy says, "I'm so sorry, I ran that red light.
Yes,
I hope that I haven't injured you, kind sir."
Well, if they do say that, that's always what the initial thing is. And then people actually start showing up and the police officers show up. And after they get off the phone with someone who is calm, then their story changes.
Right. And then their light was green.
Yes.
And they always add at the end either, you know, I think he was texting, or, you know, I think he was speeding. That's the end of every story.
Everyone. Yeah.
Whether I'm at fault or not, I throw that in there. But
based on your age.
Right. So I mean, the police officer actually gave him the ticket because it was word versus word. There were no witnesses. There were no cameras. This was before a lot of traffic cams and stuff. No witnesses, no cameras. And they gave him the ticket because obviously he's a dirty, dirty liar because he was skipping school.
Consequences.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, this is often the stuff that cops are looking for because they're concerned about something different.
Yeah.
And adjusters are not concerned whether you skip school or not.
Right.
We don't care. I mean, we care on a personal level.
Right.
But we don't really. You know,
if you're getting a good student discount and you're skipping school, we may want to look at that.
Right. Yes. I mean, Mel, you know, if your kids were skipping school, I would be concerned as your friend.
Yeah.
But if I were adjusting a claim for you, I wouldn't care.
No, you wouldn't care.
Right. You know, a lot of times what's going to really seem bad on a person in a word versus word accident is if one person's license either doesn't have a license or it's been suspended or something like that.
Right.
Oh, that looks bad, you know? And on the insurance side of things, we're not as concerned about licensed driving. We're concerned about permissive use.
Yep.
Or whatever, you know, whatever the particular policy is. And, and so this is the kind of stuff that we start looking at. Mm-hmm. You know, we start looking at all those little things that, okay, even if it's not my fault, could I have avoided it?
Right.
Even if I technically had the right of way, could I have surrendered that right of way and avoided this accident, or at least made it a lot better?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Big question.
And the police might not be all that concerned about that. Mm-hmm. It's not that they don't care, and it's not that we don't care. It's that we're going after different things.
Right.
And so this was suggested by a conversation you were having with a fellow agent, because fellow agents call us a lot.
Yeah.
Because we both worked in claims.
Yeah.
You know, and to get our advice. And we're going actually, our next episode is going to be about that.
Yeah.
So this is not necessarily an invitation to do this in the next week. You certainly may. We certainly don't mind. But
so all you young people, grow up to be an insurance agent. You'll be respected amongst your peers.
But you know, if you do ask us for coverage advice, then we are going to be putting heavy disclaimers on it. But we'll get to that next week. But a fellow agent talked to you today,
right?
About this kind of sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was a customer calls up and wants to know if they need to add a family member to their policy coming in from out of the country, coming into the United States, and will be driving one of their vehicles to get around. And I wanted to know if they needed to add him to the policy or not. Right. And the reason it was really not because they wanted to do everything right, that they were asking if it needed to be done. because when they went to do it, they were told that there would be lots of backup driving info that they needed from the country of origin.
Right. Yeah.
So the question came up, do we really need to do this?
Yeah.
And, of course, with my wife in claims, I made a phone call and said, wife, I have a question.
He takes so much advantage of her. I mean, I'm not going to ask you if you're giving feet rubs, but you better be.
Yeah. I have a lot of that. I have calluses now because I'm not saying her feet are rough. Just.
Whoa, well, hold on, everybody. Let's back that truck up.
Move along.
Oh.
So,
and meanwhile, everybody listening is rubbernecking at this catastrophic accident that's just happened.
That's right. Oh. So, my wife proceeds to say, does he have permissive use to drive the vehicle? And I said, yeah, he's going to have permission to drive the vehicle. And she says that they're not going to look at that.
Yeah,
they're not going to look at it.
Right.
And I said, so if he doesn't have a valid driver's license, no, they're going to look at, does he have permissive use and what actually happened in the accident?
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Now, the disclaimer was that's not permission to just get out scot-free from the laws of the state, because he may get the car impounded as soon as they find out he doesn't have a valid U.S. driver's license, or, he may go to jail. So don't say, oh, the insurance company said it was all right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had that same question from agents, it's like somebody with a suspended license, invalid license, no license, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, it should be. And first of all, there needs to be a disclaimer on the claim itself, because 1,000 things happen in a claim.
Yeah.
And any one of those things might actually invalidate the entire claim.
Right.
And so you can't just say, yes, it will be fine. And then that guy gets into an accident while racing or fleeing from the popo.
Yes.
Or robbing a bank or something like that. It's like, wait, you said it would be covered. It's like, not that. No. So there's got to be a disclaimer on that in the first place. But I would tell him, it's like, that by itself is not going to cause a denial. And people would say, really? That's okay? That has to follow. It's like, look, I mean, the police are probably going to have a few questions for him.
That's right.
I can't promise that he's not going to spend the night in county.
Right.
Right. But, as far as the insurance goes, we don't care, in that particular case.
That's right. That's right.
And that's because we are looking at different things for a different purpose.
Yeah.
And people get confused on this point a lot too, because they will call and be like, well, how is my customer at fault?
Yeah.
Well, your customer ran a red light, but the other guy didn't have a license. Yeah. It's like, well, the transaction we're concerned with is the transaction at the light.
Right.
Not the transaction between a person and the state, when that person turns 16 or has an outstanding traffic or a parking ticket.
Yeah.
And so had his license revoked or something.
Yeah. Listing for specific things like the teleporting car that seems to pop up in every single accident. I looked both ways. The streets were clear. Yeah. I don't know where he came from.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
Yes. So he had to be driving like crazy, right?
Probably texting at the same time.
That's right. Or he had a teleportation device, the way that you're explaining it.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so, and we're putting kind of the extreme examples here because we're trying to make a point,
Yeah.
Just because somebody doesn't have a license when they're driving does not give you the okay to run a red light.
Right.
And it goes with sideswipe accidents too. It's like, well, I stayed in my lane. He came into my lane. Well, he says you came into your lane. Well, he doesn't, his license was revoked. Well, that's called a non sequitur.
Yeah.
It doesn't follow. And the police are concerned about such things. And we're actually concerned about such things when we write the policy. We want licensed drivers driving the vehicle, but if an unlicensed driver gets permissive use and gets behind the wheel, that's, as far as the insurance goes, that's probably okay. As long as he's not fleeing the law, robbing a bank, in a drag race, through the streets of Houston, or committing outright fraud.
Yeah. And it's like the insurance, adjusters. I mean, and they do this with every claim all day long, just this looking at an accident the same way, which we do not look at it the same way in the agency either, that the claims adjuster does. So whenever the customer calls up, we're usually more sympathetic to the customer calling us up in the agency because, hey, they're just like us.
That person's giving us money.
Yeah.
I mean, that person is just
money and,
like us.
And, hey, yeah, I understand, but, road rage is not your friend. This guy has a blinker on and I'm not letting him in because he just blew past a line of cars and now he's trying to get over ahead of me. I'm not going to let him.
Right.
That is not going to go good for you in a claim.
Yeah.
The fact that the guy had his blinker on.
Right.
You saw it.
Yes. You sat there and watched him.
Yeah.
Drive his fender into the side of your car.
Yeah.
While you were shaking your fist at him.
Won't go good for you.
Right.
And,
it's like, okay, so, you had the right of way there. So this might still be majority the other person's fault.
Right.
But depending on the comp neg rules in your state, and there's the comp neg rules are different in every state. We still need to cover those at some point. Those are in my video series, but we haven't done them here, and we really should. But depending on your state, you might have just negated your entire claim. Because there are some states where, like, if you're even 1% at fault, you don't get any money. Now in Texas, it's as long as you're less than 50% at fault, you get paid for that percentage, whatever percentage, at fault the other person is. So if you're 30% at fault, then you're only going to get 70% of your repairs done by the other company.
Right.
And so you shaking your fist might have cost you, might have cost you your deductible.
True.
Or if you don't have collision coverage, might cost you a few $100.
Yeah.
And, and a claim on your record.
And it won't matter that the other guy got a ticket.
Right. Yeah. The other guy might have got a ticket for failure to, yield right of way.
Yeah. His license was suspended or something like that. And
yeah. But anyways, yeah. So we in the agency, we definitely, and the way I always say it is we want to be our customer's advocate to claims.
Right. But
we should also be claims advocate to our customers. And it doesn't mean just going along with whatever a claim says. If you have good cause to disagree, let's kick that thing up the ladder. That's being a good advocate for your customer. But at the same time, and I've seen agents do this when your customer is just dead wrong.
Yeah.
And you know it. But you're still sitting there going, "Oh, I can't believe claims took the other person's side." When you're like, yeah, of course, claims took the,
yeah,
it's disingenuous, and you are not being a good representative for your customer. You are not being a good advisor to your customer, and so you're essentially not doing your job because you don't want to piss the dude off.
Yeah,
and Yeah, and that's not what we're here for.
No, you want your customer to feel that he can come to you and get a straight answer.
Yeah.
And if you're straight with him, that's going to give you points in the future towards anything. You know, if he calls up and says, hey, this is going on with my daughter. Is it better to split her off of the policy or keep her under mine because she's going to be attending college or whatever? He's coming to you for advice and hey, give me the straight. If you're always trying to sell him on something and you're a yes man, or woman, that is never good for the future.
Be sure to include the female suck-ups in there.
Yes, because
we're equal opportunity here. We know that females can kiss ass as good as males can.
That's right.
Mr. Crunch and his sweet balls.
Thank you.
I think that's going to do it. We've pretty much covered everybody that we could piss off at this point.
Yes.
So that's our job for the week.
Bingo.
We thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. We hope that you will continue to join us each and every Monday. We try to get these uploaded first thing so that in your ride in, you can start thinking about insurance, start getting excited about this incredible career that we have chosen, but this career that does bear a lot of responsibility and carries a lot of weight for a lot of people on our shoulders. And so, we really appreciate the good job that you do each and every day for your customers. We ask that you continue to do that. And, we really appreciate you joining in and joining the conversation.
Thank you.